All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FightFit Podcast. We've got somebody who's been wanting to come in here for a long time. You've been wanting to come on the podcast, mate. How does it feel to finally be on?
Yeah, mate. It really is a dream come true. Obviously, just trying to help you find your way in life, I guess, and
Anyways,
make your own path.
Jordan De Goey here, guys. Collingwood footballer. As many of you may know this head from the TV. If you're Collingwood supporters in particular, how is that hamstring of yours, big fella?
The hamstring is really good, guys. So I've been a bit unlucky, I guess, in my recovery. It's been a bit slower than I would have liked, but obviously pointy end of the season now. So ready to get rock and rolling, and everything's feeling really good.
Geelong, first week of the finals. How you feeling about them? You lost to them round one.
That's correct. Yeah, we did lose, but no, I feel really good. I think anything can happen in finals, and finals is a whole different ball game. So. We've lucky enough to have been experienced it last year, and we know what to expect. So we'll come out there next week, and we'll have a red hot crack. So it should be good.
There's eerie similarities to last year. I mean, you guys have like how many injuries? I can't even count. Probably like 15 injuries or whatever. You've got a few coming back yourself. Steele, Darcy, coming back for finals. Last year was pretty similar, and then you guys really hit your strap in finals. Even that was similar to the fact that you were injured at the end of last year and came back for finals, right? So
yeah, correct. So last year I just had stress fractures in my shins, which was obviously frustrating, and now the hamstring. So it for me, it's probably going to be a blessing in disguise. I guess I get to go out there feeling fresh and probably the best I've felt all year. So for me personally, it's been really good. Obviously for the club, we have had a lot of injuries, and obviously that's something you don't really want. But at the same time, it is what it is, and like you said before, we really hit our straps come this time last year. So we'll go out there. We'll try and obviously connect as a group and really put our best foot forward come finals.
You still have 15 wins under your belt. Oh, I think it's 15 wins under your belt. What do you think you've really been lacking when you haven't gotten the results, or when you've been a bit flat and you have got the wins?
I think the ones we've lost, we've been patchy. It's always been close. Like even Geelong round one, we just lost. So it wasn't by much. So... all you need in a game, is two disappointing, quarters, and that'll really do it. So you just got to be on your A game, I guess, come every quarter, and that's probably something I guess we'll focus on, is making sure it's a 4-quarter effort.
And you got Steele coming back. He's going to be a big one. Only out for a week though.
Yeah, just busted an arm, unfortunately, the big fella.
What's he like around the club, Big Steele?
Yeah,
he gave me a pair of boots at the start of the season. I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah. No, Steele's he's a gun. He's been so good for a long period of time, but it's pretty funny watching him, with a busted nut.
Yeah,
I must say.
Thank you very much to Steele for the pair of boots as well. I'm sure he'll be watching. And Darcy, you came through the juniors with Darcy. Tell us a bit about him as a man and as a player.
Yeah, so Darcy is very switched on, very good football, very athletic. But at the same time, I think, that's probably been his downfall in a way that he's so athletic and, so fast and everything like that he does, often get soft tissue injuries, which is frustrating for him and especially the team. But
would he be one of the quicker ones? Or?
He would be one of the quicker ones. But, like I was saying, he can do it all. He can mark, jump, kick, sprint, you know what I mean? So it's good to have that in your arsenal. And he's important.
Sort of, start to his career because of his injuries, but I reckon he could go.
Yeah, exactly. He can be one that just take the game by the scruff of the neck. So that should be exciting.
100%. And so when you put your head on your pillow at night time and you're looking back onto last year, you look back at that last day in September or whenever it was.
Yep.
I don't remember much of it, but how do you feel about that now?
Yeah, I'm probably more, if I'm looking at it, I'm pretty proud, I guess. Not many people can say they've played in an AFL grand final, even though we lost, which obviously isn't the best. But at the same time, no one expected us to be there. So to prove everyone wrong, I guess, that was probably the best part. And that's something I enjoy doing to people as often as possible, is proving them wrong. So we came out as a team who was young. No one thought would even make the 8, let alone the top 4 and then the grand final. So we know what to expect, and we're going to be better off from the experience and just hold us in good stead for this year.
A lot of people say that we'll be better off for the experience, but how does the experience make you better off?
Just the want. Do you reckon the blokes at West Coast want it more after they've already got one? You know what I mean? It's like everything. If you've already got one of them, then does it really drive you to get another one? I think that's probably what makes the best players great is they want
that hurt.
That hurt, and they use that hurt in a positive way. So, it's going to be up to us to make sure, we win all the games up until the grand final, because that's still a long way away. So,
how's the atmosphere around the club, considering that you guys got a finals campaign coming up? You'd be a little bit, I don't know, you tell me.
It's good. It's really good. I think everyone's really excited. Everyone's obviously doing extra touch, extra massages, extra recovery. Everyone really wants to set themselves up. Yeah. I love myself a good massage. So you often find me in there or sitting in the spa. So they're usually the two places you'd find me at the club.
Yeah, awesome. So you boys reckon you're obviously in with a good chance at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. I think, we've proved
got a lot
that
of doubters.
last year. We do have a lot of doubters, and to be honest, that's just the footy world, I guess. Everyone's saying we're not playing that good. We still finished fourth, so can't be playing too bad.
So you don't really listen to that? I mean, a lot of people say they don't listen to that, but I'm sure you've got to hear it in the side of your ear.
Oh, you hear it, but it's more just, these media people have to have an opinion. That's what sells articles, I guess, is someone voicing their opinion that no one else agrees with, but that controversy is what makes that story big. So that's their job, and everyone understands that. But for us, we know what we're good at, what we need to work on. So it's pretty simple for us.
And what do you need to work on, do you feel? What are the
for
things that
me,
you're really focusing on for going into this finals campaign?
It's just be consistent. I think that was my whole goal for the whole year, and disappointing with my hamstring because I thought I was having a pretty consistent year. So for me, it's just trying to get back to being my best, and obviously have a really good finals campaign because that's what I enjoy. So
yeah. And how's your relationship with Bucks?
Me and Bucks, we've grown over time, I guess, and I think a lot of that has been just him growing as a person. I think he got told, towards the end that he needs just to relax a little bit and just let us do our thing, because he was just so how could I say, focused in us doing well. He put so much effort into it, but clearly the results weren't.
Was this 2017?
Yeah, this was 2017. Yeah, the results weren't going our way, and obviously it was creating a lot of stress and everything like that, but he learnt, I reckon, over that year that he needs to just put more trust in the playing group and the people around him, and just kind of take a step back. And he's done that, and he's allowed people to grow as individuals, however that may be. And I think that really started to show.
Maybe giving people a little bit more license to be themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I think not everyone loves football, so they're allowed to not love football, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? As much as he did. So everyone's different, and he allowed that every individual to shine, and I think that's why our football becomes so good.
So you think perhaps he's tried to change his mentality from coming in and thinking that everyone's going to work as hard as he did and do all of the extras that he did, and then sort of having to accept the fact that people perhaps aren't all as
I think it was because him as a player, he did take a lot of responsibility for the club, so he did carry the team through certain stages of his career. But as you can imagine, when you're in such a big organisation, there's a lot of people underneath you that everything needs to work, and everyone needs to put in the right amount of effort in order to get the result. And I think he was taking so many options away from the group and the staff and everything like that it made it hard. And then once he kind of took that step back and allowed the assistant coaches to do their job, the players to have a bit more trust in what they can do out on the field, we went leaps and bounds from there.
And you think that your relationship personally with Bucks has really benefited from that?
Yeah, definitely. I think because you know what I'm like. Footy's not my whole life. Footy's about this much of my life. And he understands that, but he allows me to have that freedom, if that makes sense. So I don't want to be bombarded with football talk and what I need to work on flat out. We have an off-field relationship, which is really good, and it's more just about how his family's going, my family's going, everything like that. You know what I mean? The main things in life. So
that's a bit more about how you sort of function as a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone has their issues, you know what I mean? So, and, footy's one of those things where it's hard, because if footy's not going well, you don't want to go home and, make everything else hard for everyone else. So it is one of those things where can be a frustrating job, but I think when you're open and loving and caring like he is for the group now, it makes it so much easier because we all have each other's back. That's
awesome. And tell us a bit about, you've told me a really funny story the other day about one of the assistant coaches, Rob Harvey.
Yeah, so Robert Harvey, I think he was saying he had this, I think it was an Achilles or something like that issue, and he was speaking to another guy who had been playing with that injury for 6 weeks, and then eventually once it snapped, he said he had no pain. So throughout that 6 weeks, he was saying it was absolutely killing him. So Banger,
Achilles or
he's Achilles. So Banger being Banger, just decided, all right, well, I'll skip the whole 6 week process and I'll try and snap it myself. So he went home and jumped off the table in his backyard and landed in a bit of a flex, like making sure he had, bent his Achilles, and bang, it snapped, and he played the next week. But it's quite funny. He was telling me that another bloke from another club rang him and said, "Did you actually do this?" And he said, "Yeah, that's what I did. I snapped it, and then I was good from then." So this other bloke took it another step further and jumped off his fence and actually broke his ankle.
Good one, Banger.
I know.
That's hilarious. You reckon he's going to get that St Kilda job or another senior job at some point?
I think, yeah, he's probably due for a senior job. I think he's going to, he's a fantastic, he's got so much knowledge of the game, and I think that will hold him in good stead. But he's just a ripper bloke. Like anyone can get along with him, which is awesome. But I reckon he's ready for that next step, and it's good that other clubs want our coaches, because it means we've got the right people in place. So,
And going back to West Coast for a moment, you guys got that awesome win a few weeks back, the 1 point win. That must have been an awesome game to be part of. Tell us from start to finish, what's it like to play over in West Coast when you're like a little army going over on, enemy territory?
Yeah, it's literally that. And it's cool. It's cool now talking about it because, over time it can be pretty, what would you say the word be? Pretty full on, I guess, and an experience in itself. So, you go over, they play, I think it's Joker and the Thief by Wolf Mother when they're running out. So you imagine they're pumping that, the lights are flashing, the crowd's screaming, they got a big blow up eagle. Doesn't really look like an eagle, but...
And your team's already out.
Yeah,
there,
we're already out. So we're being forced to watch this whole show go down. It's like you're at a concert. But even that, like I was standing there, I was going, shit, like this is pumping me up too. So you can only imagine how good it would be for them with their whole crowd. So, but it's one of those things over time you kind of look, and I've played a fair few years now, but that's probably the best I've seen is in pre-game entertainment any AFL club does. So which is cool.
And then you obviously played those guys in the grand final last time. How do you feel about West Coast and potentially meeting them in the finals this time around?
Yeah, I think, up until when we beat them by 1 point, they definitely had the wood over us. So, but I think that 1 point win, that's just that confidence we needed. That's something in our head now to know, we can actually do it. Like this, they don't always beat us. So
that's going to be huge.
That's going to be huge for us, and that's obviously important. So
they don't have the second chance either.
Yeah, they don't have the second chance. So that'll be interesting. But like I was saying, finals, anything can happen. So any team can pop up and perform when they need to.
Yeah. And you've got Richmond there as well, who have really come good.
Richmond have come good.
Must be a little bit nervous. Doggies as well.
Doggies, Doggies are one of them teams. They're like, they play good as a team. You know what I mean? They have X factor. So they've been obviously really good to watch, and they've been smashing teams. So they're underdogs probably, but they can come in and do probably really well. Richmond always good. So there's a few that are,
And you had probably one of your best, if not your most memorable game against Richmond in the prelim last year.
Yeah.
Tell us about how that went down.
So obviously playing Richmond there, like I think, everyone just expected Richmond to win. So we came in there with, we were just going, we'll come out swinging and see what happens. We got nothing to lose here. And that was probably the best part. And for me, it was just like, I'm pretty sure I kicked the first goal of the game. And I was playing on rant, so it was like I knew like this, I had to play well. Do you know what I mean? Like I just knew he's such a good player that I needed to get on top early and make sure I was on my game. So I had a real focus on that. And, everything just started to connect for us. Coxie was taking big grabs. All the forwards were putting pressure on, and we kind of beat Richmond at their own game. So, and to do that in front of 95,000 when no one expected us to win was unreal.
What was the atmosphere like?
It was electric. I think, it was funny because all the Richmond fans were stunned. We had them on the back foot since the start of the game. And then obviously you imagine all the Pies fans, they were over the moon. So that's one of them moments I'll never forget. But like I said, that's a moment in time, and we've got to come out and do all that again. So it's exciting.
You feeling positive? Are the boys feeling positive? What's it like around the club?
Yeah, it's good. Everyone's excited. Finals time. Everyone's doing all the extras they can just to set themselves up. So yeah, it should be a good time ahead. And
there's been a lot to say about Collingwood's culture over the years. They've had some funny characters. The Rat Pack of Swanee, Dids, Heath Shaw. Was Benny Johnson? Was he a part of that Rat Pack?
Yep.
Maybe Liquor.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the new Rat Pack emerging in yourself.
There's definitely not a new Rat Pack because we just could not ever compete with the old Rat Pack. So they're just some of the stories you hear are just like, it's unbelievable. Like some of the stuff they got away with and everything. Even some of the times they got caught. If we did half the stuff now, would get crucified and probably wouldn't even have a job. So we've, that's never going to be the case again. I think you're never going to see anyone like those boys. But yeah, it's just funny knowing
worlds colliding back then.
Yeah, worlds colliding back then, and it's just funny. Like they were all the same, and you meet them; they're all the same knockabout blokes. You're like having a good time. But the funny thing was when it come down to game day, they were all there and killing it. So
probably the one that stands out most is Swanee.
Yeah,
when everyone looks at him, he's such a funny character. Got the best one-liners you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
What was it like, working with him, and how would you sort of compare him as a person and as a player to what you'd sort of see in the media about him?
Yeah, in the media, it's just that like he is laid back and loves having a good time, but when it come down to training, when he needed to, he would work his ass off. Behind closed doors, he would work really hard and make sure he was ready to go. And you say you'd watch him during the year training, he would probably have 2 touches of the football for the whole training session. Not even really wanting to touch the ball, just get back inside where it was warm. And then come game day, he's probably had 35 and 2 goals. So
yeah, but he stayed fit.
He stayed fit, and whenever he was needed or we needed someone to step up, he was always that bloke. So just to play with him was unbelievable. And it's just funny, people in the media, they only see this much of Dane Swan, you know what I mean? So
yeah, how did he manage to, because he's such a good athlete and getting so much of the footy and such a big tank, how did he develop that tank?
Just worked his ass off, really. I know he spent a lot of time in the altitude room just doing running sessions. Yeah, in pre-season. So, but yeah, like he's one in a million, I think. Like the way he can party. The man can really party. Everyone knows that. He would party on weekends, but at the end of the day, he came every day throughout the week. He didn't miss a day, and he performed on the weekend. It's like, well, what more can you really want from a bloke?
Yeah, I guess that's just his way of sort of going about things.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was like you can't really tell him not to do it because he was allowed to do it. He would always do it when he was allowed, if that makes sense. Within the team rules and stuff like that. And at the end of it, he didn't like skip a Monday if he was hungover or anything. He'd still be there, still train, and then on the weekend he'd still perform. So really, he's not doing it. Yeah, go out and kill it. And so really, I couldn't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, you guys have a pretty good relationship, you and Swanee. You're still hanging out every now and then, and
he's good. He's often just jet setting around the world. The lucky fella. But yeah, like I said, he's pretty much set himself up from football, which is awesome to see, and he's got a lot going for him, which is really good.
And then a different sort of character in Pendles. He's such obviously the ultimate professional, captain, fantastic, everything. Tell us a bit about him as a person and as a player.
Yeah, Pendle's been massive for me. Just that, that wise head, around the football club. He knows, what it takes to succeed, I guess, and be the best player he can be. So just to watch him go about his work is really, second to none. I don't know if there's anyone better in it, but in the AFL at that aspect of it, and you see how good he's playing now, he's still absolutely dominating at the highest level. And he's, 32, 33? He's getting pretty old, the big fella, but if he keeps playing the way he does, he might play till he's 50, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Far out. That's scary to think about. But yeah, he's still killing it though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
still doing an awesome job.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah. And is there any other blokes, obviously besides myself, of course, who you look up to outside of football? I can't do it all. So.
Yeah, probably Paul Licura. He was pretty big for me.
Big liquor.
So when I got suspended, he kind of took me under his wing and made sure, I was where I needed to be and doing all the right things. Even worked for his business for a while there as well, which was a bit of fun. But, at the same time, Liquor's, he's got his head screwed on right. He's a really good business person. he still has fun at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I think we get along, because I'm not, the most perfect person you're ever going to meet. And I've made plenty of mistakes along the way. And yeah, he just gets that and he understands me, which is cool.
That's awesome. And is there anybody else that you can really pinpoint that's had an impact on you and that you can sort of like Buddha? Or?
Yeah, Buddha's been really good. I just like people who, like to have fun. Like I don't take myself seriously at all. So usually I just talk a lot of shit with the boys around the club and they think I'm a dickhead, but that's my sense of humor, I guess. And that's a bit of fun. So if I can just lighten up the day a little bit, it's always good.
And someone who definitely lightens up the day is Benny Crocker.
Yeah,
Tell us a little about
Benny Crocker.
Croc.
Yeah, Croc's funny. So the difference, Croc's, he's hilarious. So he does all the stupid shit around the club and just makes people laugh. And I think that's what they love about him. He never takes himself seriously, but when it comes down to it, he trains hard and plays hard. So
he's got good endurance, great runner.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. So he'll be wrapped with this mention on the podcast.
Well, mate, he's earned it.
Yeah. Pay me later, Croc.
And tell us about when you were growing up. Obviously you loved your dirt bike riding. Tell us about that. You're doing your backflips on your BMX. We could find that on YouTube. Young Jordan De Goey backflip if you want to go on YouTube. On BMX.
Yeah, I was a bit of a little daredevil when I was a kid. I pretty much, as soon as I got off training wheels, I had a motorbike. So got into that, started racing that. And then, ever since I was a young kid, Dad always used to flip me into swimming pools and stuff like that.
Flip you into swimming pools?
Yeah, like teach me how to do
Sink
it
or
all.
Swim type thing.
Sink or swim, yeah. That's kind of the way me and Dad have been, which has been good. But yeah, he taught me all the stuff, so I can do all the flips and everything like that now. And
so your old man taught you that? Yeah,
well, he could never actually do it himself. He just used to throw me in the pool and I'd kind of get the hang of it and then just kind of teach myself from there. So
I can just imagine him throwing you in the pool. Yeah,
but I would have been loving it as a little nutcase as a kid. So yeah.
Yeah, and tell us about the injuries that you sustained that led you away from BMX riding.
Yeah, well, I was actually motorbike riding,
whatever it was.
I broke my elbow, so I broke the I don't know, whatever the M bone is on your elbow, and then I also just put my teeth through my lip, so my top set of teeth through that lip there, and
that explains a lot.
Put a bit of metal in there as well, which the dentist had to fish out, and I also killed that front tooth. So yeah, there's a few little things.
Did it go black?
Yeah, it went because I smashed it and obviously had to get stitches, but I didn't realise my tooth was dead for a good couple of weeks until it started going black. And then, Mum and Dad weren't too happy with the dentist bill.
And the elbow.
And the elbow, it just fell off and one of those things. But I guess motorbike's one of those sports where broken bones is pretty common. And then, so football and motorbikes are a whole different ballgame, I guess.
Do you reckon you'd be still doing that if you didn't realise that you were a half-decent footy player?
Yeah, probably, yeah. So I'd probably be on the tools during midweek and then motorbike riding and going out on the weekend. So there wouldn't be much to me, but I definitely prefer this lifestyle.
Yeah. And you've come around FightFit a few times. You don't mind a FightFit class? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I did one of the challenges classes with Jake. That's Jake, that bloke there in the grey. Yep. It was so much fun, but obviously ended up nearly tearing my hamstring off the bone from doing 100 what we were doing, burpees, sit-ups, all these random exercises that I hadn't done in a while in my off season, and the weight was starting to pack on. And
the great man doesn't mess around, does he?
No, he doesn't. Old Paul Fifield. It was actually quite funny. It was about 35 degrees and decided to turn all the fans off, being real old school. So it was a good fun session.
No fans and no music.
No fans, no music. Don't look at the clock until the time's up, and he'll yell it out. So
what was it? I was looking at the other day that you guys had some boxing thing, and Tay Adams and Travi Varco were doing some boxing yesterday. Yeah,
so Tay Adams and Levi Greenwood, they got 12 rounds in Port Melbourne, so they got a little boxing gym there, and I think boxing any level for anybody is obviously really good. I think it's another level of fitness, and it's a good way to defend yourself, I guess, and be able to protect yourself if you need. So that's why I love it. I think you can't really compare running fit to boxing fit. It's a whole different ball game, but I think there is a lot of similarities to being fit.
Do you reckon you'd potentially have done boxing if it weren't for footy?
Yeah, it was something Dad wishes he got me into earlier, was boxing. So I don't have the most amazing head, so probably not going to be a model anytime soon. But me and you, a couple of smash crabs. That's probably a good thing for us. Yeah.
I'm still getting it smashed though in here all the time. We'll forget that one happened. So what's on for you, mate, for the next few weeks before the game? You're going all red there.
Yeah, I know, mate.
You look like a genuine smashed crab now. Like a dropped tomato.
What's going to be happening for me? Not much. I'll be training flat out, preparing, making sure this hammy's good to go, and then come few days, I'll be out playing the G. So it's exciting times ahead.
And you guys had the retirement of Goldie.
Yeah, Goldie.
Great man.
Yeah, it's quite sad. You never want to see the old blokes leave the club, but we watched some of his highlights and what he's been able to do in his career, and it's been pretty impressive. So, fantastic career. So, congrats, Goldie, if you're listening or watching.
I'm sure he is, mate.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Yeah, 100%.
And Dunny, will he go on?
Oh, I hope so. I think,
funny man.
He's been really unfortunate with injuries, obviously, the later part of his career. So, just for him to, I don't know, get back on the field and feeling healthy again, I think that'll be really good.
I hope he does play on. I think you guys could definitely still use him, but it's just the knee recos.
Yeah, exactly. They're one of the most damaging injuries in the sport, and I think, obviously it's tough mentally and physically. So,
did Woody do one?
Yeah, he unfortunately did his fifth.
So I saw that he might have done it.
Fifth on the same knee. So, yeah,
Alex Woodward playing VFL on the weekend. He's such a good dude.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what's frustrating a lot of people with these injuries, And that's the hardest part. It affects their personal life as well. It's not just, you know what I mean, your football life. So, yeah.
You have to live with that for the rest of your life. Have the boys been getting around, Woody?
Yeah, I think so. I think he went in for surgery, so I think he's got a bit to weigh up whether it's worth going again, obviously considering his history. So,
what's it like for somebody who does a knee, and then what's the rehab process? Because pretty much when you're looking from the outside, you see them do the knee,
and then they
clutch it, and then a year later they're back. You don't see anything in between.
It's ridiculous, like the amount of work they have to put into all these little steps. Like I tell you, I've been hating rehab for the last 5 weeks. You imagine what it's like for 10 months. So to see Shaz go through it, Dunny, it's a tough place, like mentally, just to be able to come back to a place every day when you're not part of the group, you're not training, and all you have to do is stay in the gym, work your ass off, do all these stupid little exercises, which, in turn help you, but at the time you can't be bothered doing. So it's tough.
And if you could see Collingwood really having a charge toward the final, what would be the thing that you think would be most important that the players get right and the coaches get right?
I think it's just that connection. We talk about connection, and that's just, knowing what the next person's going to do. So if I see Pendle's with the ball in the midfield, I know he's more likely to look lower with his kick. So I'll hit up to him, where there's other blokes who like to kick longer. So I'll lead longer, if that makes sense, or I'll go back towards goal. So just those little things, if we can stay connected and in tune, you feel like you're untouchable out there.
And Ruffy's been playing forward the last few weeks.
Yep.
What do you think is the go? Do you reckon he'll stay?
I don't know. That's one thing we haven't really spoken about at this stage. So it'll be interesting to see what the coaches decide to do. But
do you take that factor away? Because Coxie's not going to be playing.
Coxie's not going to be playing. I think Reedy's almost back, so that could be a potential.
So you think Reedy could come back?
Potentially. He's on the same timeline as me in terms of injury wise, but maybe Reedy. Who knows?
Did he play VFL?
No, he didn't. No. I don't know. So that's the thing. I don't know what they're going to do.
He was playing well earlier in the season. It probably wouldn't be against.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It would
be a completely ridiculous move to chuck him straight back in.
That's what I mean. So it'll be interesting to see.
Speaking of playing well earlier in the year, Daniel Wells came back and he kicked 3.5?
Three and a half, against Sydney.
And then was that his first game back, yeah?
Yeah, that was his first game back. AFL was, yeah.
Poor bloke.
I know, yeah. So he's been one of those ones. He just brings class. He's just class act.
Could he be an X factor inclusion?
Potentially. That's the thing. You never know. We've got so many blokes coming back. It's going to be hard to fill everyone in, but it'll be interesting to see what the coaches decide.
Yeah. And in terms of young blokes at the club, who are the ones that are really standing out for you at the moment?
Oh, well, you got like your Steve-O. Good to have Steve-O back. Isaac Quainer. He's been really good. I think he'll develop, into AFL even more. He just needs more games. Hopefully Nathan Murphy can get himself right. Tyler Brown. There's plenty of kids.
I heard big raps about Tyler Brown. Tell us about how he goes about it.
Yeah, he's just developed leaps and bounds. I think he's just got confidence in himself and playing at the highest level. So hopefully once he gets his opportunity, he takes it, and then he'll just go from there, I reckon. Awesome.
Well, what else would you say to the Collingwood supporters out there who are feeling nervous about the finals? It'll be finals week when this gets released.
It's all normal to be nervous, I guess. So just come down, support us. We'll really appreciate it, and we'll try our best. That's for sure.
Awesome. And just the last one, in terms of kids, I know you get a lot of kids who come up to you and ask you about, they want to be footy players and all that.
Yep.
You'd be the last bloke I'd ask. I'm just kidding. But just what advice would you give to young kids coming up?
Just enjoy your footy. I think I get that question. I get asked that question a shitload. So, literally just enjoy your footy. I think that's all I did as a kid. And I hate when parents are getting all this, putting so much pressure on their kids. Just let the kids play, let them kids enjoy it. I think you develop the most when you're happy and having fun. So I know that's what I did, and that's what I reckon most kids should be doing.
Well, keep doing your thing, mate. It's been good. As I said, you've been begging me to come on the podcast for months now, so you must be stoked to have finally got on, mate.
Yeah, mate. It's unreal here.
You can come down, do some classes. I'll put you through your paces. Don't know if you'll be able to keep up, but
oh Jesus! Thanks, mate.
Been a pleasure. Thanks,
Cheers.
Shores.
Thank you.